against torture.
Excellencies, I'm Venerable SOVATH, a Cambodian human rights activist.
Excuse me, can you stop for a moment? I see that the representative of Cambodia would like to take the floor, please.
I think the microphone. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. First of all, I would like to question the accreditations of this NGO.
Was he accredited? Okay. Thank you. I have been informed by Secretariat that the speaker has been accredited in conformity with the established procedures. NGO in consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations can accredit the persons of their choosing. Complaints about the conduct of an NGO should be addressed to the NGO Committee of ECOSOC. Sorry, I didn't notice, but I was advised that some other delegations also raised that plate. Was this a case or not? Then please continue.
Excellencies, I'm Venerable SOVATH, a Cambodian human rights activist. I had to flee Cambodia.
Stop a little bit? Representative of Cambodia, please, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I would like to question the legitimacy of this representative of this NGO, given his saffron robe.
Okay, Mr. Ambassador, I can only repeat what I said at the beginning, that this speaker was accredited in conformity with the established procedures, and I'm not sure about any rule which would dictate the dress of the speaker, if I understand correctly that you refer to the dressing of the speaker.
Mr. Vice President, if he represents the NGO, or if he is a member of an NGO, why does he also serve as a monk?
Venezuela, you asked for the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Venezuela joins the point of order from the delegation of Cambodia, as expressed by that delegation. If the legitimacy of the speaker cannot be verified, then the floor should not be given to that speaker in this council. We would request that that speech or statement be withdrawn.
Thank you. Next speaker is Russian Federation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. We would like to support the point of order of our colleague and request the Secretariat to clarify the accreditation of this particular NGO representative who is speaking today. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker on our list is Australia.
Thank you. We fully support the right of civil society to speak here at the Council. The NGO is an accredited ECOSOC entity. The individual has been accredited through the usual processes of the United Nations. I'm not aware of any rule of procedure that prevents a religious person or a member of a religious organisation addressing the Council. Indeed, that happens on a regular basis. We fully support the civil society speaker continuing to address the Council, and we ask that they be able to do so.
Thank you. Next speaker is Czech Republic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. As we've just heard a confirmation from your side, from the side of the OHCHR Secretariat, that this is indeed an approved NGO by the ECOSOC. We believe and hope that this intervention can continue without us commenting on the substance of the intervention, but for the sake of a genuine dialogue with civil society, we hope that we can continue. Thank you.
Thank you. China asked for the.
Thank you. China supports this point of order raised by Cambodia. We would like the President to clarify the credential of this speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Cuba.
Gracias, Presidente.
Thank you, Vice President. Unfortunately, this is not the first time that we see incidents of this nature. We support other colleagues in saying that the NGOs do have a right to bring forth their position in this forum. However, what is being brought forth, as we've heard from some speakers, is not the substance of the matter, but rather the point of order. This is not a matter of the right of the NGO to be accredited and speak, but rather of the legitimacy of a specific speaker. And this is not the first time that this has happened. As we've said, the state concerned has a very serious point of order, and we think that it is fair for it to be considered. We must be working in step with the established procedure. Thank you.
Thank you. Germany.
Thank you very much. The Human Rights Council serves as a platform for open dialogue, for sharing opinions and experiences. And we believe that the feedback and input of civil society is important in advancing the discussion on human rights, and their engagement should be encouraged by this council and not hampered. And after the points that have been raised and your assessment, we find no reason for this council to continue to disrupt the statement being presented, and as a level of respect towards the space of NGOs should be preserved in this council. So we would like this to continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I very much agree with the distinguished representative of Cuba that this is not the first time we face this kind of situation, and because it's not the first time, this council established some procedure to follow in such situation, and the procedure is that any country which is questioning the legitimacy of the speaker or the representative of NGO has a right to complain about it to NGO committee of ECOSOC. And I understand that in the last situations like this, the countries concerned did this, and they got response or opinion from the particular committee. With this, I would like to offer the floor back to the speaker.
Excellencies, I'm Venerable SOVATH, a Cambodian human rights activist. I had to flee Cambodia.
Can you stop for a moment? Cambodia, you have the floor.
Mr. Vice President, I propose the point of order because we question the status and legitimacy of this representative of the NGO. According to the information that the government sends to me, he is not a real monk. He has been defrocked in Cambodia already. Secondly, he also has been charged with rape and defamation in accordance to Article 293 and 305 of the Criminal Code of Cambodia.
Excuse me, sir, but I think in the Human Rights Council we should avoid this kind of accusation. If you have information which can make decision-making of committee of ECOSOC which would be relevant for them, please forward this information to the committee. And I would like to offer now the ruling that I ask the representative of NGO to continue.
Excellencies, I'm Venerable SOVATH, of human rights defender activists. I had to flee Cambodia because of a defamation campaign due to my work. For more than 11 years, I have been defending the rights of community who have been forced from their lands. Today, the human rights situation in Cambodia is getting worse. They killing democracy. There are no free elections, no freedom of expression, and no freedom of assembly. Many activists have been arrested, tortured, and have fled the country. Myself and other human rights activists have been documenting abuses. We are driven by desire for peace and justice. I call on the international community to come to the rescue of democracy in Cambodia. I would like the UN Human Rights Council to hold Cambodia accountable.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, time is up. Next speaker is Article 19, International